Coming up on this episode of the Spiro podcast. When you're the one that's shooting and selling and building that business, especially when you're first just starting out, you build such good relationships. I mean, it feels really good. I love working with the realtors that I do in my market, but that can be a double-edged sword when you go to hire another photographer.
Welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Kivimaki and Craig Magrum.
Hi, and welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. Spiro is a software platform that's designed by a real estate media company to help you manage and grow your day-to-day business. I'm Craig Magrum. Welcome to the podcast. And with me each and every week, our co-host and owner and founder of Spiro, Todd Kivimaki. It has been a crazy busy week again.
Holy cow. I know we get to this Friday. I'm like, how could it be Friday?
I know.
It's the day we record on. How could it be Friday already? Yes, it has been a crazy week and a good week, but very busy. I think we have some really relevant items, some items that we ourselves use every day and are struggling with. And there's always this juggle of busyness and how can we get things done and being business owners. There seems to be sometimes too many hats that we have to wear.
I think that defines my career, wearing multiple hats in a role. And actually, that was a really good setup now that I think about it, Todd, because that's kind of what we're talking about today.
It is, yes.
We're going to be talking about the hybrid role of a photographer and business development specialist, salesperson, whatever title you want to give it, the photographer and the business development role. And we want to thank Connor. And Connor, I don't know exactly how to pronounce your last name, so I don't want to butcher it on the podcast. But Connor sent in that question. He said, "Hey, I'm building my business and he's looking at more the boutique style of business, keeping it a little bit smaller and giving more attention to clients, which is kind of how I had run mine as well." He said, "But I'm interested in hearing a little bit more about this hybrid role of photographer and business development specialist." So, Connor, great question. Thank you. If you do have a question for the podcast that relates to the business side of real estate media, we want to encourage you, drop us a line, hello@spiro.media. We love the questions. If we don't know the answers, we'll invite someone on, find someone that we can invite to come on and answer those questions for you, because we want to empower you to have a great, strong, solid business. So, all right, we're going to get to that.
Another thing, Craig, sorry to step on you there. Another thing that you can send in to us more than just questions. What are your needs? Like, what are you struggling with, or where is there a gap in your business right now? I think sometimes we might be a bit disconnected from what you might be going through. So, the think back when it was just me or myself and one or two others, like I have to go back 20 years in time. And I've forgotten some of those things for good and for bad. But like, what is it that you need? Do you need help training photographers? Is that a gap of yours right now? Like, we have this incredible video series curriculum that we put all of our photographers through, that's self-guided, that has checkpoints. Do you need to know more about legalities, contracts, workers' comp? What does it mean to hire an employee? Interview questions, job postings. Do you need help creating procedures because you're hiring on your first employee, like Connor's asking about today? Maybe it's your first VA. How do you train that? How do you find a VA? I had that question asked the other day. That's a good one to talk about. But where do you find them at? How do you tell them what you want done? How do you know what a VA should do? Like, if there's some of those needs that you have, how could we make your job, your job easier, your business better? I would love to know some of those things. Maybe we can repurpose a lot of what we have at our real estate media company, Wow Video Tours, and look at how we could help you grow with those. So any of those types of correspondence we love knowing those, and because some of those things we forgot about, those gaps in our business, and we'd love to fill those gaps for you all out there.
Yeah, good stuff. Really can't add anything to that. But yeah, again, hello@spiro.media. If you're wondering about any of that. Some of what you just said kind of just triggered something I wanted to address real quick. We've gotten a couple of comments on the YouTube channel wanting to see tutorial videos on Spiro itself, and they're looking for it on the YouTube channel, not finding it. All they're finding is the podcast. So I just wanted to kind of clarify and point you in the right direction. The YouTube channel really is just for the Spiro podcast, where we talk about the business side of real estate media. If you're interested in tutorials on the software itself, we want to encourage you, go to our website, spiro.media, and in the top nav, there is a link to the knowledge base where you will find a plethora. That's one of my favorite words. I'm going to do a quick squirrel moment here, Todd. Now, some people might not remember this movie. Do you remember the movie, The Three Amigos, with Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, and Martin Short? There's a line about a plethora of piñatas. And every time I hear the word plethora, I think of that line from The Three Amigos, and now I'm starting to giggle. Okay. Anyway, sorry. A plethora of piñatas. Anyway. Yes. All right. There is a plethora of you
about spit out my coffee.
You did. Yeah. I saw that. Of tutorial articles and videos on the Spiro system, how to get things set up. If you're curious, can people schedule like a consultation as well, Todd?
So the best place to get started is actually the Get Started button on our website, spiro.media. Once you click that, you answer 4 very simple questions. We don't just 4 simple questions. And then you have a demo. You have a full demo. So it's myself giving a demo to Eli Jones. Going over the system. So you'll get everything from the front to the back of what that is. That will lay a really good groundwork of what Spiro has to offer. And there's a ton of other features as well. So from that point, you can create a system for free. You can visit the knowledge base, and you can always contact us as well with specific questions. We'll be happy to answer them for you. We try to send everybody to that Get Started button because that demo, we have found, answers 85% of your questions and really gives you a good idea as to the flow of the actual system. You can see it, you can watch it in your own time, and that will bring you up to speed as to the way the system operates and how it will look and feel for you.
Yep. So there you go. In case you were looking again on the YouTube channel for the tutorials, check out the knowledge base link at spiro.media. Okay. We do talk about the software from time to time here on the podcast, but we really don't want this to be an ongoing commercial for Spiro. We just want to empower you with good business knowledge to help your business. So anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for indulging me on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well...
Yeah, speaking of not talking about Spiro, give me a minute. I'll tell you what happened.
Okay, what's going on with Spiro?
We got to pay some bills here. Okay, here's Spiro. New features. We're calling a magic link for your coupons. What this will do is it will make it very easy for you to share a link with your client. They click on the link, and then that coupon will automatically be applied for them on the last step of the order page. Pretty cool, right? They don't have to remember what the coupon code is. They don't have to type it in. Is it capital? Is it lowercase? What was the coupon code? Where is that email out? How do I copy? Right click, click copy. Where's copy at? Anyways, we know your clients. They're our clients too. Like Craig said at the top of the show, we run a real estate media company too. We want to make it easy for your realtors. So new magic links, those are in there as well. You can find them in the coupon section, as it was always located in the shopping cart coupons. Also, the report filter range. So if you're running reports out of Spiro, you'll mainly find these in the metrics and reports section. You can now select more than inside of 1 month. So you can do up to a quarter of the year. So if you want to see what reporting is for up to 90 days, you can select those date ranges now. We've revamped and overhauled the upload into the gallery from the property website manager. So we have made this much quicker for you. We have made the thumbnails generating much quicker. So you will see a greatly increased experience inside of that gallery. And we're happy to do that. Also, with the images going up, they have to come down in a download. We have made some adjustments to the download as well, the way that your clients will use them and get the download. Image sequence numbers. So that is all adjusted to the way that we have found that you guys want to upload them. We historically have used a 3-digit sequence number. We find that a lot of you are using a 1-digit sequence number. When you do that, the images go out of order because the computer looks at them from a binary perspective. Anyways, not to go too technical, you can upload a 1-digit sequence number now, and they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 like we expect. Your logo size on the order page, it is bigger and more prominent. So we've maximized that, especially if you've had more of a horizontal and some, depending the orientation of your logo. Some of them were quite small, and we want your brand to shine. And we have increased the size of your logo on the login page. Also, your realtors can now hide your clients can now hide the realtor and equal housing logo on the property websites and the marketing content. So we know y'all work with people more than realtors. We do too. Airbnb, VRBO owners, builders, people, you have clients that do remodels or flips. They're not realtors. They don't need that. And you can turn that off now. Also, some of you have told us that you need the company information as far as the contact information, phone number on the property website. That is on there as well. Pete, thank you for that. Pete, you told us that a long time ago, so that's in there now. And then also we've optimized some of the marketing templates. We have more marketing templates coming. And also, when you used to go modify an order, you get a pop-up if the invoice was already created that said, hey, warning, if you change this order, you're going to change the invoice. We heard from a lot of you that that's just assumed and you hate that pop-up and hate typing yes to get past that top pop-up. We officially threw that pop-up away. So that thing is done, gone, in the trash can and down the road. So no more pop-up for y'all, and that'll be in there, or that won't be in there to streamline your experience. So
excellent. You mentioned Pete. Was it Pete Stagel of
yeah,
Servant 360? So I forgot to mention this last podcast. So Pete and his lovely wife were on vacation recently, and I think we've mentioned that he's a motorcycle rider, as am I. He's ridden a lot longer than I have, and they've taken, I think it was like 2,000 miles by the time that we had connected. Well, anyway,
wow.
They were up in New York and Ontario, and he said, hey, I'm coming across into Detroit and coming down 75. Do you want to connect for dinner? Now, Pete and Servant 360, they're based out of New Mexico. So it was kind of cool that he was, in our neck of the woods. And I said, absolutely. We, Todd and I met Pete. Well, it's been a couple of years now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It was
2 years ago in Vegas.
Yeah, PMRE. Yeah, and we've just really hit it off, like we have with many of you. But he said, hey, I'm coming down 75. Well, I live right off I-75. Well, you do too, basically, Todd. Yeah, just a little bit further south. And so we connected and got to ride our bikes together and went down to Findlay, Ohio for dinner. And I got some video footage of our ride together, a couple of nice. GoPro videos and a 360 video as well. I have not had time to work on editing any of it together. It was kind of a test recording. The exposure is not great. It's like, oh yeah, I need to fix some things, but it was kind of fun. So you said Pete, and I thought maybe I can try and get something edited up real quick, and we can share it on the video portion of the podcast. But it was a good time with Pete and his wife.
Pete's a great guy. He was literally, I think, the third or fourth user in the system to sign up, and has given us a ton of great feedback. Just a great marketing mind. Also, he has created a CRM for real estate photographers. It's called Pixel CRM, PIXL CRM. So if you want to check it out, we're actually transitioning to it at Wow, our media company right now. So really cool things in there, and it's worth a check out. And always worth a conversation with Pete. I always get something from when I talk with him. And he gave some really good tips on our podcast my goodness, it was probably a year and a half ago. But there is an episode with Pete if you want to search in the podcast library. But that was cool. You got to connect with him. I missed you guys. I'm sorry. I had plans that evening and I couldn't join.
Yep. No,
and my bicycle wouldn't have kept up with you guys, but that's just...
It might have been hard to pedal that fast. Yeah.
I have long legs, but I can't go that fast. I'm old.
All righty. Well, that is a great way to get the podcast kicked off. We are 16 minutes into this now.
Yeah, let's give these 15. People something worth some value here. Goodness, I'm sorry, y'all.
As we mentioned, Connor emailed in and had a question about the hybrid role of a photographer and basically a salesperson, for lack of a better word. You can call him a salesperson. You call it a business development specialist. That's the term we use. But I thought we'd dive into that a little bit deeper than we've talked about before, Todd. And he's got a couple of different questions, but let's talk about just the role as a whole and how it's kind of developed at Wow Video Tours versus what the traditional setup has been for our photographers in our business development. You want to give a little bit of background to it?
Yeah, I will. I'll give a brief background. So we first thought about selling people outside of really myself at the time. It was about 6 or 7 years ago. And we were scaling quite rapidly. And I was scaling through brokerage deals. And at the time, we started to greatly expand up and down the highway here, 75, Craig mentioned it. And I was doing that by creating these relationships in cities and with the broker, and we were expanding quite rapidly. Well, when we're in these cities, our photographers were coming across more and more agents, and they saw that there was more and more agents that weren't using us. And at the time, they just weren't using anybody. This was, like I said, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And our photographers came to us and said, hey, is there a way that we can help more people know about Wow Video Tours and the agents in the cities that aren't using us? And we were asked that question enough times that we're like, wow, I think there's something here. So I hired on a consultant that was close to me, Shannon, and we've mentioned Shannon. Shannon now has come back and worked for Spiro, and we'll have her on this podcast because she is a wealth of information. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And she helped us really kind of blow the doors off the thing, if you will.
Right.
And built this training program. And we did this big kickoff launch to the photographers that wanted to be in the program, train them. And we very quickly realized that photographers are not salespeople. Now, I have we'll get to some suggestions for you as if you're saying like, oh, I really hope that was going to work for me. But let me just give you a little bit, let me tie it all together. So we then transition into finding your typical, your people who had sales experience. So the job posting wasn't for photographers. The job posting was for salespeople. Mm-hmm. And we happened to find some salespeople that had some photography experience or just like that realm of the industry. And we grew then with a sales team, but they were focused on sales first, shooting second. And then we did that for 5 or 6 years. And Steve has picked up, Steve and you guys, he's been on the podcast, you know him, you love him. He has done a fabulous job with building that sales team to a really well-oiled sales team and looking at it from a strategic standpoint of how we can expand. So there's different levels of expanding, and what we need at Wow because of our size is a little bit different than someone who has 1 photographer or 2 photographers or really even 5 photographers. It's just a little bit different because of our scale. And then we had a fabulous opportunity with Craig, and Craig started his own real estate media company, and we kind of powered him with software and editing and quality control. Mm-hmm. And then Craig transitioned into another field, and then he came back, and
I couldn't stay away.
So when Craig transitioned out, we bought his book of business, and then he came back and he's running that now under our umbrella of Wow Video Tours. So that's where we created this role, because he came back and we're like, holy crap, like, yes, what can we do to make this work? We would love it. If what do you need? What do we need? And we came up with this hybrid role. So that's kind of the history of what we're doing. We are looking to hire this hybrid role one more time in another city that we're just expanding into. And we found that there's times that it works really well, and there's times that we go a different route.
So let me ask, what would the situation be where it works really well and where a different route is needed? Maybe going more the traditional photographer role and salesperson. What would the decision-making matrix look like for somebody that's considering growing their company and hiring another photographer and or salesperson?
Yeah, good question. So some of this is going to come down to the variables of what type of investment are you comfortable in making in that new city or in your city. There's sometimes that if you grow into a new city, if you have to hire a salesperson and then hire a photographer, you will have a larger investment in that city. Right. And there's sometimes that it seems you're able to shoulder that investment a little bit better if that person who's selling also can do the shooting. And there's value in that as well, because if you sell it and then you go shoot it, you're continuing to build those relationships.
Right.
So Craig will tell you that he does this all day, every day when he's out on shoots. And there is a fabulous time where you can gain a great connection. And I think back over the last 20 years, and I think that like the connections that we still have that are 20 years old, like it was just because I shot for them for 5-10 years. They knew me. I built those relationships, and no one's going to build it like you. And you'll find other people that get it 80% or 90% of what you do it. But there is a foundation that you're laying right now at your company if you're a team of one.
Yeah. It can be a double-edged sword in a way, Todd, just full disclosure, because when you're the one that's shooting and selling and building that business, especially when you're first just starting out, you build such good relationships. I mean, it feels really good. I love working with the realtors that I do in my market, because I've worked with them for so long. We've gotten to know each other on a personal level. We know, what's going on with our families to a degree, things like that. But that can be a double-edged sword when you go to hire another photographer, because the relationship is so deep that even if you're not the best photographer, which I am not, I will fully say this, there are better photographers on our team than me. Because of the relationship, sometimes those realtors don't want to work with anyone else because they don't have trust built with whoever it is that you're bringing on. So there is that challenge, and that can be hard to overcome. Part of what I have to sell when we bring somebody new on is, hey, we've vetted this person. They do a great job. I'm asking you to trust us in this and trust, so-and-so that's going to come shoot your listing. I'm still your point of contact for business related issues. If you have any concerns, you can come to me. You have to have those kind of conversations if you're bringing somebody new into your market and onto your team. I don't know what prompted that, Todd, but that just came to mind.
Yeah, Craig. And I think that can connect back to just what your goals are as a company. So if your goal is, our goal at WOW is to be a large media company. We want to grow a team. We want to give great value to our agents, and we want to give really, really good customer service. And what our approach is aligns with those core values, and we follow those values in all of our decisions. If your values are different, that's okay. That's great, actually. That's what's the cool thing about business. If your value is to have the highest end product and very niched, and everything you put out, everyone's trying to keep up with, or everyone's going, how did they do that? and you want to service just a small group of clients and do very high end, that's cool too. I love that idea. I'm not that good. So I went another way. And, it's kind of funny just as a subset, there was a posting in one of our Spiro user group about who shot this property, and somebody saw it was a Spiro link in one of their areas. And it happened to be us, and another user, and I love him, this is just his personality, so I don't take offense to it, was like critiquing our photography on the page. And, critiquing it. And I was like, this is such a great thing. Like, it's not our goal to give the most high-end photography. Like, we understand that our clients aren't looking to pixel peep on every single image. They want good value. They want good turnaround. They want to get on the schedule in a few days, and they want to know they have someone when they pick up the phone they can call. Mm-hmm. And we have 12, 14, 8,000 agents a year who use us. Now, that's completely different to if you're more high-end architectural and you're looking at all those things. I mean, honestly, this is the first time I looked at some of our photos when I saw this link. Like, and we have people at Wow that do that. So it's not like it's not getting done, but they're just different goals. Our goal is to do 12, 14, 15,000 jobs a year. And we want to bring those things. So if your goals are different, then that's fine. And you might approach things differently. So I think just rewinding back, you asked me the question of when do you pick the hybrid versus the full-time? And I gave the answer for the hybrid. The time I would pick the full-time is when you just need to jump in 2 feet into a market. It might be more remote to your other markets. It might be a larger market. Larger markets typically are tougher to break into. Yeah. Because you have more competition, and you need someone there just building relationships, and you need someone selling your features and benefits and your value on a full-time level. That's when I would go with just a full-time salesperson. The potential's higher, bigger market. You're going to spend more money to start off, but that's a strategy you need to take.
Yeah, that's a great, what's the word I'm looking for? Criteria to help you determine what type of role you're wanting to hire for. Is the market size. So the market I work is probably a medium to smaller market, not small city, but it's not as big as some of our other major markets that we serve. So we can get away with me serving in that hybrid role of both, business development and photographer. Now, Connor asked a great question. He said, I imagine the workload varies with more shooting during busy times and more client engagement during slower periods. So let's dive into that a little bit, Todd, because that's exactly what I deal with versus the rest of our business development team that is full bore going sales development, business development year round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Craig, January, February this year, what was your day like versus May, June, July this year?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Connor nailed it. When it's the winter, at least in the area, we're in Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, there are very few real estate shoots to do. So I'm not out shooting a whole lot. So I've got to make the best use of my time, my 8 hours a day plus whatever, in being profitable for the business. So during that slow time, I am out there building relationships. I'm going to, brokerage meetings for the realtor teams, making presentations about Wow Video Tours, showing new features that we've rolled out and how those things can benefit their business and build their brand. I'm out doing coffee meetings, meeting both current clients, checking in with them, making sure we're taking good care of them, and asking for referrals and meeting new potential clients and getting to know them and their business and their goals. I always couch it in terms of, I want to get to know you, your business, your goals. And admittedly, I'd love to see if there's a way for us to help you achieve that. There might be, there might not be. I like to be honest. Sometimes, what a realtor's goals are in terms of visual marketing might be something different outside of the scope of what we can do. And if there's somebody else out there that can help them do that better, okay, great. Now that's going to give us, some ideas of what we could do better and help us develop products and services down the road. But I like to get to know newer clients. I don't have time to do that during the spring, summer, early fall season because I'm out shooting 4 or 5, listings a day, sometimes 6. Mm-hmm. So I don't have time for the meetings, and I can't block that time out to meet with people. I do to a degree, but only because now we have another photographer in the market to help me cover shoots. But I can't afford to block out lots of time for meetings during the busy season because then there's no availability for our clients, and that gets them frustrated. So it's a tightrope walk to a degree, but you're definitely going to be shifting your focus depending on the part of the year that you're in. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Long answer to a short, easy question, I guess.
No, that's great insight and great tips there on some of the verbiage that you use when you sit with a client. And right there, that just shows that if you're like, oh, I don't want to sell, you don't have to. Just serve them and give that dialogue that Craig shared. Now, Craig, just looking at that, okay, so this is kind of off the cuff. We didn't talk about this in the show notes, but what are the positives what are things that you really like with that role?
For me, I think it's the mix of the type of work I get to do. So it's not the same thing every day. I get to mix up building relationships and getting to know people because I do enjoy getting to know people one-on-one. I'm not so much a crowd type of guy or big gathering. Mm-hmm. But I love small groups and meeting with people one-on-one and getting to know them on a deeper level. I'm not a huge small talk guy. So I like that aspect of what I get to do. But then also I get to go out by myself because I'm an introvert, right? Mm-hmm. Ambivert technically, but I'm an introvert. I get to go out and have my alone time just shooting and letting the creative side of my personality come out and look at different houses every day and, different angles to get and see just all sorts of ways people decorate their homes. And it's personally fulfilling to me to have both of those aspects. And for the hybrid role, you've got to find somebody like that loves the creative side, but also enjoys meeting people and talking and consulting and being a servant to them and helping them build their business. Not everybody's wired the same way. Mm-hmm. So that's what I like about it is just the variety and what I get to do and the variety of, environments and different brokerages that I get to work with. And it's funny, you see different cultures and different brokerages. Mm-hmm. I like the mix. I like the mix of what I do.
Yeah, good answer. So on the opposite of that, where are some gaps? Where are some things that are like, oh, this is a shortcoming or this is difficult to overcome with this type of position?
So what I've noticed, especially in the last few months, is when you have somebody that is fully devoted to business development, they're able to get out to a lot more social events, mm-hmm. Network even more. Joy, like in our North Carolina market, Joy does a fantastic job of co-sponsoring just different realtor mixers and events with other like third-party vendors. I just don't have the time to do that, especially during the busy season when it's nice and warm out and people want to get out and do that. I'm out shooting. I don't have time to plan. So my approach to sales is different than Joy's approach to sales and business development. And so the rate of new client acquisition, I feel, with our full-time business development team is higher than what I'm able to achieve because I can't spend all of my time doing that business development. Mm-hmm. So my market share increase is slower than our more major markets where we have a dedicated business development person. Mm-hmm. Now, as a performance-driven personality, I get frustrated by that and I feel like I'm not doing a good enough job, but it's inherent in the role I have. I can't grow it as fast. So it's more of a slow and steady development in this particular market than some of our other markets.
Yes. It's a role that when you do good in the role, you literally cut off your ability to keep doing good in the role because you're doing good by selling. Clients come in, you have to service them. Thus, you're in that. Now you've switched over roles to just being the photographer. Thus, you can't focus on wanting to grow or get more business. So
Right.
it's a tricky thing. It's no different than we've all taken with our own business.
Mm-hmm.
So just to give you some insight here and kind of so Connor shared that he launched his business just April of 23. He's awesome. He's doing 70 to 80 jobs a month. And
that's great.
And he's into 20 to 25K a month of revenue. So, I mean, kudos to you, Connor.
Yeah.
That's an amazing point to be at. One thing that I would suggest, so for those of you that are in that position, if those are you that are half of that, you need to just keep grinding. We don't need to hire anybody first. Just keep grinding. Connor is really at that turning point of really understanding, do I need to bring someone on to help me grow?
Yeah.
My thought there is, so you've been very successful in just over a year of being in business. Like what you achieved is great. So it's working, but just the analogy I gave, like you worked hard and now you created this new problem for yourself of, okay, you're servicing everything, but you're really good at building business. You wouldn't have gotten to this point if you weren't good at it. And I think now you have the stresses of having a decent sized business. And when you do that as the business owner, I do this too, you start to replace yourself in areas that you're most valuable in. So Connor right now is thinking about replacing the sales position that he's been doing. So his client acquisition. Well, Connor grew to a 25K a month business in a little over a year. He's pretty darn good at selling right there, like without even knowing him. And I know him a little bit, but anyone that can do that is talented. So my suggestion would be, I know it feels busy right now, and it's like you've become the technician of your business. Okay, so going back kind of to the E-Myth theories or the E-Myth book, but you're the one doing the work right now. And you've gotten to the point to where you're really good at it. And you can cruise, you can shoot those houses in no time, and you can still keep the clients happy. And you know what all the technicals are behind the scenes. But keeping you behind the scenes right now, I think is a bad decision for your business. Because it's been the best decision you've had in growing your business to a nice size in a little over a year. Craig, you might have some insight to share here as well, because you did the same thing and you scaled to a very nice size and you were really good at building relationships. And you think, am I wrong?
No, because that's the exact question I had to face. And I remember, I think it was Derek, when Derek was with us, he pointed out, he's like, Craig, you can't shoot forever. You're going to have to think about what your role looks like moving forward. And I struggled with that because, your philosophy, Todd, as owner of WOW, is I want to grow this as big as I can, do as many shoots as we can. And my approach to it was, I still like the creative side and I want to be out there doing the work. So my approach to my business was more what Connor's is. He started, I hope Connor doesn't mind us sharing a lot of this.
This is going to be tough to undelete once it goes out on the interwebs.
We'll try and keep it somewhat. We haven't given Connor's last name. Anyway, he said, I'm a solo real estate photographer running my own business. At the moment, I'm not looking to grow a huge team, but envision building a small, close-knit group of talented individuals. So as I consider my first hire, I'm particularly interested in the hybrid role, similar to what Craig does. So I got to that same point, and I did hire one additional photographer to help me with the growing number of shoots that I had that I couldn't handle. I couldn't respond fast enough to the clients that I had built. So I did bring on another photographer to help, and I had two different photographers. They did a great job. But my philosophy was similar to Connor's, is I had to make a decision, what type of business do I want to have? And for me, it was keeping the company smaller, and I stay involved with both the shoots and the development of the business to a point, but then taking care of the clients that I already had, especially in the off season. that's where I shifted my focus, was reconnecting, because I didn't like to take clients for granted. And I felt like I wasn't, but I felt like I was during the busy season because I don't have time to talk to them. So you've got to keep that cycle going of when things slow down, you get back out there. You have to get yourself back out there and invite your clients out, go to their meetings, sponsor some events, things like that. That's where you're able to keep that cycle going. And it's a great way to build loyalty with your clients, because the realtors, they love that personal touch. They like knowing that you are their photographer, right? So it's all about the philosophy in determining what type of business do you want to build. Did that answer the question?
It did. And it's so true. Remember, you started a business. And again, I define a business as a profitable enterprise that works without you. That's not my definition. That's the coach that I had in years past. And I agree with that. I still have that memorized. And it's your business. So that's the way he defined it, that it works without you. He grew really, really big, like hundreds of millions. Like he grew humongous businesses. And that was his goal. But if your goal is not that, I appreciate that. I appreciate that you know what your goal is. Just create a plan and stick to the plan. And if it aligns, that's a word that we use a ton here. And again, another coach used that a lot with me. Like, alignment is so important as you grow. You have to make sure you're aligned. You know, if you think about our bodies, if you are out of alignment, you are not walking properly. You are in pain. Things are not functioning correctly. It can lead to bigger pain and more permanent injury if you're not in alignment with your body. And the same is true with your business. So again, that's one of the beautiful things about business is my business doesn't have to be your business. Craig's doesn't have to be yours. Just make sure that you are comfortable with that, and don't strive to build my business if you don't want to do that. We talked about this a little bit with goals at the beginning of the year, but if you put a goal down because like, oh, my friends are doing this, this seems great, or it seems like the thing to do, but that's really not your goal, you're going to get up at 5 a.m. one day and you're going to run around the block. And then the next day you're like, oh, you're going to find an excuse, and you're just going to fight it really hard. And you're going to realize, hey, this is not really my goal. I actually need to cross it off, and I need to create a different goal.
All right. So let's dig into another part of the question that Connor had. A very practical question. How do you pay a hybrid role, somebody that's doing the photography and the sales side? Because a lot of times your photographers, you're paying per job or maybe per hour. Salespeople, a lot of times it's commission only or base plus commission. So how do you set up how you pay somebody to work in that kind of role?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've tried it every way possible, and I tried all the wrong ways first until we settled on what we feel is the right way. Just base plus commission. Just pay them a base salary, pay them a commission, and I would pay them a commission of all of the revenue in their location, not just the revenue they bring in, not just the revenue they bring in for 12 months, not just on new business. We've tried all of those things. We've tried split commissions. We tried tiers of commission. You need to pay them a base salary plus a commission on the entire market they're working in. I'll give you a few examples of things that we went over the years, and then I'll let you guys email me if you have more questions. And Craig, you might have some to add. But if you don't, so your first question, Todd, why are you paying on the whole market? So say you're going to bring an individual into your market, the market that you've grown to this point. Connor's got $25K a month coming in, and I'm saying now pay him a percentage of that $25K that you worked hard for. And why am I saying that? Well, one, because it's going to be that individual's responsibility to make sure that that $25K continues to come in. So there's going to be relationship building. Who are the VIPs? Who are the people I need to go and build relationships? Who's going to call me when they have a new order because I've now built this relationship as the new contact with them? There's going to be work involved on that $25K that you have already. And you want them to pay attention to it. Okay, you want that new person to pay attention to it. The other reason why you pay on the entire market is because that $25K is going to grow. And if you only pay based on activity or ownership for a sales term, like who owns the account, what's going to happen is this person in this hybrid role is going to go into a brokerage presentation, or going to a group setting, or they're going to be at a vendor show, or they're going to be at an open house, or they're going to be somewhere else where there's multiple agents. And they are going to be focused on connecting with those multiple agents, not logging in the CRM. So for them, a typical sales process is if you talk to somebody, you need to make sure that they're in the CRM and you're on the owner, and then you would make any commission on that, on those individuals. Well, what's going to happen is just out of that marketing and those connections that this new person is making for you, there's going to be people that order that they never talk to. If there's 30 people or 100 people in a room and this individual has 2 minutes on stage, how are you going to attribute those sales? There's no, where are they going to, there's some techniques. Okay. Text this code and I'll, text, start to this code, give me a business card, write down as many names as you can think of. It just gets complicated, like Craig says. So there's times that you just need to pay them on everything, because they're not going to remember everybody they talk to. If they do, they're spending too much time in the CRM. Okay. So it's important to log items and to keep track of what they do, but not to the extent that it's every single conversation, every single call. And also, third and finally, this person's going to build relationships with clients, and those clients are going to have a good relationship with this person, and those clients are going to refer that person now. Yep. This is the cool thing. Yep. They're not referring you directly. They're not referring your company. They are indirectly, but because they have a relationship with this new individual, they like this person. There's a relationship. They connect. They go to the same church. They go to the same high school, or they went to the same high school, whatever it may be. They have raving fans, and those clients are going to refer their close circle of people. And there's no way to attribute that at all, because it's not always going to be attached to a referral code. So that is why I would pay a base plus a commission. And those figures, I get asked this all the time about what those figures should be. And it's impossible for me to give you an answer. You need to make sure that you understand what a living wage is in your part of the country and the world. And then you need to understand how much revenue is in the city that they're coming into. Right. So right now, let's just take the math of $25K a month. If you pay them 10% commission on that, okay, that's $2,500. If you pay them 5% commission, that's $1,250. Okay, so say you're going to pay them 5%, $1,250 of that, and you're going to pay them that over the course of a year. Well, $1,250 times 12 is what, about 15, 16K. And who in America is living off of 16K? So You can't give them a base of 20. 20 plus 15 is 35K. You can go make more than that at Arby's. Okay? Right. So that's just a simple example of, you got to make sure that what you're sending them into, they can be successful at, and they can see how they can scale. Now that's my side, Craig. I'm sure you have great perspective from your side.
There's really not a whole lot for me to add to it, because on the receiving end, yeah, I have a family to take care of. I need some consistent income. And let's face it, there are market forces I can't control, even as the business development person. Now, we've talked about this in past episodes. A great measurement tool to see how you're doing is market share.
Yes.
Okay, so my number of listings is actually down this year compared to what I've done in the past and what the company's done in the past. Although I think we're up year over year from last year. So I'm making gains. Yes. But if your market tanks in terms of new listings, and we get numbers from our local MLS board, I can see how many listings there are for this particular month compared to last year's, say June or July of 2023. So we can look at the market share, and I've been down on myself because I'm not getting the number of shoots I'd like to get, or the number of new clients or whatever. And Steve has been so kind. He's like, Craig, but look at your market share. It's inching forward. Now it's not going up as fast as some of our other markets, but again, that's attributable to the fact that I'm a hybrid role. Yes. And during busy season, I can't sell as much. So as long as that market share number is continuing to go up, your hybrid role is doing the job that they need to be. And you need to just keep that in perspective. So the base plus commission works well for me because I've got a solid base that I can rely on to take care of my family. But that commission, there's a competitive part of me as a salesperson. I want to get it, try and earn as much commission as I can. And it's set up really well. The way we have it set up is I get that commission, but then I also have a stretch goal each month. If I can get a certain number of dollars and or number of shoots, there's a little bit of a bonus. So you want to build that in. It keeps me hungry, right? As a salesperson, it keeps me motivated and out there to continue to do the best that I can. But I don't have to fret month to month on, am I going to be able to feed my family this month? So it works for me, and I appreciate that WOW was willing to set up, my compensation in a very fair way. Take care of your people and they'll work hard for you.
Yeah, that's so true, Craig. And we screwed it up on a lot of others before you. So I'm glad by the time we had time to work it out, by the time our paths connected again. So there's a lot of stuff in there. Oh my goodness. There's probably 10 podcasts of theory and things we've tried in there, and why we do it and what is a stretch goal. We haven't even gotten into that yet. And the theory behind a stretch goal. If you're like, it's just give them a bonus to hit that works good for you and good for them on a monthly or quarterly level. But I guess we'll just leave it at that because there's one more point I want to wrap up to, and we're going long today. So thanks for staying with us. This is probably like 3 days of driving for y'all out there. But finally, he gives a one more sentence in here I wanted to read. And why can't I find it at this point? Okay. So understanding the specifics for this hybrid role will be incredibly helpful as I plan for my first hire. And then he says, I'm keen on setting up an amazing friend for success and ensuring he can thrive both professionally and financially.
What a great motivation.
Oh, I mean, that is
kudos to you, Connor.
The character to want to say that is incredible. And that is fabulous. And that is what being a good owner is thinking of your people first and making sure that they can be successful. When they're successful, you're successful. The one thing I want to just point out here, there's one word in here, 2 words, one's describing the other word, but I think he has someone in mind. He calls them this amazing friend. Now, I don't know if this is someone that you already know. So this is a current amazing friend of yours, or if you just want to find someone that you feel is going to grow into kind of that friend type of relationship with you because you want to stay small niched and have this type of service. I have done both, and I have hired some of my amazing friends. I've hired family members. I've hired people I have no clue who they are. And I've done everything in between. It can work. It can be somewhat a liability or dangerous as well. So remember, if this person is currently one of your amazing friends and you get along really well with them and you guys just know each other and they know about your business just because they're friends. So the onboarding will be quicker and you can trust them, which is important. You now, when you cross over to this business owner and they are an employee of yours, you're just now wagering up, if you will, your friendship that it needs to continue. And don't always assume that because it's amazing friendship that it will always be amazing as the boss and direct report relationship.
Yeah. That's critical. It's hard. The relationship changes when it goes into business and employment. Just a personal example. When I sold my book of business to Wow, I went to work for my church as our director of production and communication. I saw a need there, and our lead pastor had actually twice tried to recruit me to that role, and I had said no a couple of times. And going into that, my pastor was my pastor. He's like my spiritual covering. He was a friend, he cared about me, cared about my family. And I didn't think, even though my wife kind of warned me about this, I didn't think about the fact that the relationship would change once he was my employer. I was on the volunteer team for the media team beforehand and had a great relationship with him. I'm not technically an employee, but once I was, and this is not to denigrate or put down my pastor, because he didn't do anything wrong, but the relationship changed. I now was being paid, and I had expectations I had to fulfill in the role that he hired me for. That's a different dynamic than a friendship. It's totally different. Not to say it can't work. You just have to go in, both of you, knowing that that's going to change. And like Todd, I would encourage anyone considering that, have a very open and honest discussion, because you don't want to lose the friend, right? You don't want to lose the friend.
Yeah. Very well said, Craig. Very well said. Just nothing to add, but please just listen to what Craig said, because it'll be easy for you to hire your friend because you trust them right now and you get along well with them. But yeah, just think about that relationship.
Yep. Good deal. We got a lot covered there, Todd.
Wow, there was a lot in there. If you're still with us, thanks for sticking with us. If you have follow-up questions, ask us. This all makes sense in our heads, but sometimes we need to clarify. So we're happy to do so. And again, we're happy to share with you the 20 years that we have tried this many different ways and just about everything in the market, many different ways.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for another week of the Spiro podcast. Again, we just can't tell you enough how much we appreciate you watching or listening each and every week. There's other great podcasts out there we know you can be listening to. So thank you for taking the time to listen to or watch this one. We do appreciate you. Again, if you have a question or comments, feedback, email us hello@spiro.media. Feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube channel as well. We do try and keep up with those, but we're busy out shooting and running the business as well. But yeah, just thank you for everything. Todd, any final closing thoughts?
Where you focus your time, that's what you become, and that's what will expand. I keep crossing variations of that quote a lot. So just be cognizant. Craig mentioned that we're busy in time. And by the way, I'm reading this book that he suggested, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. If you don't have it, please get it and read it. But where you put your time, that's what will expand and grow, but that's what you become at the same time.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up. You guys, make sure you take some time, slow down a little bit, even though it's busy season. Slow down. Be thankful for the blessings in your life, and make sure you take a breath. Have a great week.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.